Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of our La Liga career mode here with Sevilla. We're back today as we kick off season 3 of the save. After a pretty good campaign last year where I feel we made some decent progress, let's see what our budget is for this upcoming season. 88 million, okay. That's about what I thought it would be. Well, 87 and 3/4. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that budget. Of course, Champions League money, second in La Liga, and a quarter-final in the Copa del Rey. As for our objectives this year, well, domestically critical objectives. They want us to win the league title. That is going to be tough. Copa del Rey reached the semi-finals and the Champions League reached the semis. So they've gone pretty big with the objectives. For me, I agree with the Champions League. I'd like to try and reach at least the quarters, if not the final four. Same with the Copa del Rey. With La Liga, I'm not set on winning it, but I want to be in a proper title race this season. And as we take a look at the team itself, pretty much the same as last season, but we have got a lot of players coming back from loans. As we look in the reserves, we've got 2 goalkeepers coming back, couple of defenders and a few youth academy lads as well. So yeah, I think a lot of the youth academy lads will go out on loan. The same with Idumbo. The likes of Collado, Dominguez, probably Martinez as well will be sold, as we have to trim this squad down to just 25 players for the La Liga campaign. And as I run you through the squad hub, a couple of interesting things to note. You will have seen there, Nyland, 12 months left on his contract. He is not retiring, and it is the same for Nemanja Gudel as well, not retiring. So I'm not sure what to do with them, man. I don't know whether to keep them, but then they're likely to retire next season, which means keeping them for 2 years at an absolute minimum. Or do we let them go now and, you know, say thank you for your service, absolute legends over the last couple of seasons, but we need to move on to the future. And with just a 25-man squad limit, I'm not too sure if that future involves them at the club. I love both of them, especially Nyland. He was heroic in our first season, but I don't know if I need him at the club anymore. I'm honestly not sure what's going to happen as we see a potential downgrade for Marcano. But I think Menendez potential to be special, good enough to stay in the team. And with Adams unhappy, it is pretty likely that he will go. But as for Nyland and Gudel, I'm honestly not sure what's going to happen. And as we take a look at the players with their deals up at the end of the season, I think a lot of these guys will go. They're just not ever going to be good enough to feature in the first team. So I'm just going to shift them on at the moment. Gudel, I don't know. Nyland, I don't know. Nianzou, again, I'm going to add him to the transfer list, as I do think, although he's not handed one in, he's not happy with his playtime, he's not happy with his contract. At 24 years of age, I think he needs to get some football, so I'm happy to let him go. But I will give a 1-year extension to Chidera Ejuke. I've decided I'm going to keep him at the club for at least this next season, and then we'll reassess next year, especially with the youngster Helder Couto coming back from his loan at Girona. Yeah, so 4 players on the transfer list. The 3 players coming back from loan into their early 20s, just not going to make it in this team. And also Nianzou, I think it's a mutual decision between a club and player that he needs to move on. So yeah, we've got a lot of names on the shortlist. I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen this season with incomings. My main target is still Alex Baena of Villarreal. I'm not sure what European competition they went into. They finished 6th last year, so it should really be the Conference League. And with us playing Champions League football, I think there's every chance he would jump ship. But I'm not going to pull the trigger on that just yet. I'm going to start simming through, see if we can shift on some of the players we've got on the transfer list. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. So let's see what sort of bids we get. Well, there goes our first sale of the summer, and it's quite a big one as well. Just discussed him, but Tanguy Nianzou heading to Frankfurt. We also see Dominguez heading out for just £1 million. But let's get to that Nianzou deal, as there it is, 15.75 million. I could see this happening as well, heading to the Bundesliga to play for Frankfurt, who are a pretty strong German club. So Nianzou heads out the door for a relatively decent fee for a player with his deal up at the end of the season. Well, guys, 2 more very quick sales. Ramon Martinez heading to FCSB for just shy of £2 million, and Alberto Collado heading to Poland for $750,000. So let us get a couple more players out the door. And as you will see here, I've added a few more players to the loan list. We've got the young goalkeeper Alberto Flores and Stanis Idumbo, as well as 4 of the youngsters who were out on loan last year. Alright guys, I've just managed to get all of those guys out on loan, so you'll be seeing the confirmations now on screen. Bento Barros and Hassan have both gone to Getafe for 2 years on loan, which I quite like, as Getafe becoming a bit of a feeder club of ours. Stanis Idumbo has signed a new 2-year contract extension and gone out on loan to Ghent for the next year. And the 2 young Spanish strikers, Cabrera and Marcano, have both gone out on loan to Cagliari and Toulouse, respectively. So, as I say, you'll be seeing those deals going through. I've still got Alberto Flores on the transfer list. I've negotiated with 4 clubs and all of them want to take him on a loan to buy, which I'm not happy to do, so he is staying for the time being. But I think what I'm going to do is make my first signing of the summer. And we, of course, lost Tanguy Nianzou to Frankfurt, and I'm going to go shopping in Germany for his replacement. I think that Sumala Koulibaly will probably just want a rotation squad role, and I love this guy's physical stats. He's 6'3", he's absolutely rapid, 82 strength and 91 at jumping as well. He's got good defensive stats with 81 interceptions. Okay, his stand and slide tackle could maybe do with a bit of work, but on the ball he's fantastic as well, and he looks like a bit of a beast at just 22 years of age. Definitely some room to grow, and he is a recommendation from a subscriber, and I like to try and bring players in that you guys have recommended. So Sumala Koulibaly, I'm going to try and bring him in from Mönchengladbach. So Sumala Koulibaly is in, and I think this is a great bit of business. Just 10.5 million to bring him to the club with a 15% sell-on clause, which is pretty much redundant because he signed a 5-year deal and he's probably not going anywhere. And the best thing about this, he only wanted a sporadic squad role. So yes, whilst we could have kept Nianzou, who is a couple of ratings higher, I think for realism's sake, this is a really, really clever piece of business. So we'll put him on a development plan to increase his defensive stats, but physically, this guy is already an absolute monster. So I'm really happy with that business. Well, guys, this is a bit of an interesting one, but it's the only club who would take Flores on a loan without a buy option. So he's heading to the Saudi Pro League to play for Al Hilal. Not exactly where I envisioned him playing, but when you've had so many loan bids rejected, you can't really be picky. And guys, we've been waiting for this one. I'm finally going to pull the trigger on Alex Biner. He was my main transfer target last year, and I want to go after him again this season. I just love his stats. He's really well-rounded physically and mentally, and technically, he is fantastic as well. He's not absolutely rapid. 80 acceleration, 85 sprint speed, so he is quick. But it's the technical stats that really stand out for me. 84 finishing, 83 dribbling, 88 ball control, 87 short pass, and he's got a bit of a free kick on him as well. He can defend and come back and help out. So I think he's the sort of perfect player for this system. I said at the end of last year, I think that having Yasser Asprilla on the right and Alex on the left is a perfect balance. So we were priced out of a move last year, but this season, with a bigger budget, I'm going back to Villarreal and saying your man wants to move for Champions League football. Let's see if we can strike a deal. So guys, we've finally got our man Alex Biner. He joins for 63.1 million. Villarreal were holding out for that 100 grand, and it's a 5-year, 55 grand a week contract for Alex Biner, making him the highest paid player at the club. And just had a quick look after the signing as well. Villarreal actually playing Europa League football, as once again 5 teams have gone into the Champions League this year, with Betis joining ourselves, Real Madrid, Barcelona and Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, and Celta Vigo heading into the Conference League. So that's really interesting. Once again, it's the top 5 heading into the Champions League. But we've got our man Alex Biner. It took us a while. I've given him his number 16 shirt, and I've also made a slight change as PK gets the number 10 shirt after Suso left in the summer. So the iconic number 10, like Cole Palmer in real life, switching his kit number this season. PK, the main man, is joined by Alex Biner. And after that signing of Alex Biner, some sad news as Adams is departing leaving the club. Never really worked out for the big number 9. I didn't really get on from him from day one, but he's joining Valencia. Quite an interesting one. We sold Rafa Mir to them last year, and they've got some good young players, but they've not really got an out-and-out number 9 other than Rafa Mir, who is now getting on a bit. And to get 20 million, the game might not think so, but I think 20 million for a player that only managed, I think, 3 or 4 goals in our first 2 years at the club, I think that's a pretty good sale. So Adams, unfortunately, never worked out for him, and he has now left the club on a permanent deal. Guys, as we now make it to the first day of the season, I've still got a bit of a decision to make in regard to Nyland and Goodell specifically, both with their deals up at the end of the season. I'm more leaning towards the nostalgia of keeping them here for one more year, letting them both leave on freeze at the end of the campaign, and just saying that they've both retired, even if they do end up going to another club. I think both will retire, but I'm tempted to just keep them both for one more year. So that would probably mean loaning out Alvaro one more time, as we're currently on 26 players in the squad. So we'd have to loan out the goalkeeper Alvaro like we did last year as he spent the season at Sociedad. That will bring us down to 25 players. And that will most likely be our team for the upcoming season, barring any changes in the final weeks of the summer transfer window. So I think what we're going to do, it's been quite a streamlined transfer window so far. We'll jump into our first game of the season as we take on RCD Espanyol away from home in Barcelona, looking for a win on match day 1. I've said this year I want to be up there with Real Madrid, who I think will again be competing for the La Liga title, but I want to be in a title race from minute 1, so we need to make sure we start off better than we did last year and pick up a win on match day 1. Vamos Sevilla. Yeah, I've said it a fair few times between the end of last season and the beginning of this season that I want to be properly in the title race this campaign. Even though we finished just 2 points behind Real Madrid last season, it didn't feel like we were ever in a title race, so we've got to make sure we get off to a good start here, as Amin straight from kickoff is denied early on. But yeah, we dropped points on match day 1 last season. We stumbled out of the blocks, and for the first 8 to 10 games of the campaign, we were miles off the pace. This season, if we want to stick with Real Madrid, we can't give them a lead in the early stages. We have to get off to a better start. Yasser plays it back to Sanchez, and now the skipper into Prados. Amin, lovely skill. Oh, that's brilliant from Amin Guerrero. It's found its way in. Maybe a bit of obstruction by, I think it's Benyat Prados in front of the goalkeeper. Flag does not go up. VAR not interested, and Sevilla lead controversially. Yeah, we're into the second half here, and having seen it on the replay, I have no idea how that goal from Amin Guerrero has been allowed to stand. Benyat literally runs right in front of the keeper's eye line, as Yasser is denied by Pacheco with a bit of a camera save, but I honestly have no idea how it's been allowed to stand. In the modern era of VAR, there is no way that goal would be allowed, as Jibril lets fly with an absolute cracker. Given him the start today, wearing the armband, he struggled to get in the team at the end of last season, but with Goodell being phased out of the 11, Jibril is the vice-captain. I've gone with him today, and that is a rocket to double the advantage and looks set to give us all 3 points on match day 1. Yeah, Jibril didn't manage a goal in the entirety of last campaign, and here on match day 1, he's already off the mark as Pedrosa's in there. And you love a goal from the fullback. I'm such a big fan of Pedrosa, an underrated part of this team, and that should be the points wrapped up and in the bag. A massive statement win on match day 1 of the new season, and this is just a sign that Sevilla mean business. A huge win and a perfect start to season 3. Well, guys, there hasn't been any movement between games in the transfer market, and with us having 25 players in the squad, if we did want to bring anyone in, we'd have to sell or loan somebody out first. So it's looking like it's going to be a pretty quiet end to the transfer window, but we'll just jump straight into our next game. Match day 2 of the season against newly promoted Levante. Came up alongside Real Sociedad and Girona through the playoffs, but definitely a chance in our first home game of the season to make it 2 wins from 2 and put out another statement performance. Vamos Sevilla. Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be quite a quiet end to the transfer window. We've got the money in the bank if we wanted to bring somebody in, but I'm not going to... Oh, Pedrosa should have scored. I'm not going to sell anybody for the sake of bringing in a new signing when I'm happy with the team as it is. So, yeah, very likely that the squad will stay the same as Biner in behind. Again, is denied by a brilliant save. Well, still deadlocked here as we approach the hour mark. I'm not panicking just yet, but I am getting a bit worried that we've not found that breakthrough. But here we come with Yasser. Finds Amin. And Pedrosa to Biner. Don't want to slip up in just match day 2. But I don't want to panic just yet as Amin waits for some support. Still Amin finds Prados. Takes the ball in his stride. Picks out Amin, who does slide it in. And that is patient play. And that's what I mean. Not panicking and trying to force the goal. Could have taken the effort on from the angle from Benyat, but just recycled, turned back and found a better opening for Amin Gouiri, who gets his first goal of the season, and Sevilla are in front. We've had to work hard for it, but we have the breakthrough. We've got to make sure we hold on for the win as Puertas off the bench finds Amin. Got runners ahead of him. Biner, PK's going to be off as he pokes it in, and he's not off. Flag stays down, and PK with a brilliant second goal. His first of the campaign, and with the new kit number, the iconic number 10, he gets his first goal of the season. That is an unbelievable finish, man. Oh no, don't lose the clean sheet. Yeah, so frustrating to lose the clean sheet, man. I hate that when you've been in control of a game and you just give up one chance on your goal and it ends up with a goal. Levante cutting the deficit. We did manage to hold on, which is the most important thing, but I'm a stickler for a clean sheet, but it's not going to matter. That brilliant goal from PK ended up being the game winner. Honestly, the technique on that was absolutely phenomenal. And do you know what? I'm not expecting much transfer business between now and our next game in a few days' time in midweek. So we'll jump straight into that as we travel to the Montalivi to take on Girona. Were, of course, in the Segunda Division last year after relegation in Season 1. Back in the big time, and we're taking them on here looking to make it 3 wins from 3. Vamos, Sevilla. What, hearing that that walkout music at the Montalivi takes me back to my Girona save last year on FC24. Girona, so good, man. I love that save so much, but yeah, Girona got a great team in this save. I've no idea, as I said when it happened, I've no idea how they were relegated last campaign, because they are, or 2 seasons ago, they're way too good to be playing in the Segunda Division. But back up in the top flight as Amin slid through. Amin, can he finish? You bet he can. Back in the top flight, and they've caused us issues in this opening half an hour. Had most of the ball, most of the chances as well, but it is Amin Gouiri who gets his second of the campaign and puts us in front here. Danger here. Arnold, skipper for Girona. Ball played back inside to Ruiz. Nicely worked, and there's the equaliser. And I tell you what, Girona deserve that as well. Valeri, who we had during our stint with Girona last year on FC24 with the equaliser, and that has been coming. They deserve that. Oh, what a cross that is. Abel Ruiz got away from Barde, and Kepa makes a brilliant reaction save. And you might not have seen all of the highlights, but I tell you what, Girona, full value for this. They've been fantastic today, and it's no real surprise. I said it in the first half. They've got a really strong team. As Biner rolls through PK, could this be the chance to get ourselves back in front? PK, it's off the post, and he should have finished it off. Chances at either end, and I still think someone's going to win this. Gaia, ball slid forward. Come on, we're in danger of losing this. Great ball through, and Girona do take the lead. And I said it had been coming as well. Abel Ruiz on target for the newly promoted side. And they deserve that as well. Girona in front. And that's going to do it as well. And fair play to Girona. They deserved it today. Much better side. And we were second best. I'll be honest, I'll hold my hands up. I did not play as well as Girona today. And I said it in the first half. They've got a great team. So, you know what? I'm not surprised we struggled. But Our first loss of the season in just match day 3. I said I wanted a much better start to the campaign, and I was hoping to make it 3 from 3 here, but do you know what? It's been quite a short episode in terms of the transfers, so we'll jump into match day 4 as we return back home to the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan, taking on Rayo Vallecano, looking to get back to winning ways. And if we can make it 3 wins out of our opening 4, I'll take that as a decent start to the season, and we'll then close out with transfer deadline day. Vamos Sevilla. A lovely football by Vallecano. Big save by Kepa again. And after absolutely dominating in our opening 2 games, loss against Girona last time out, and a pretty sluggish start here as well. We've got to pick this up. Can't afford another defeat here today. I can just about cope with the loss to Girona in a game where we were actually second best. But if we lose here again today, making it 2 losses in our opening 4, I'm not going to be happy. As Amin does well and finds Jibril. Patient build up this. Yasser onto the left peg. Still Yasser. PK's in space. PK surely. PK 1-0. Patient build up again. That's more like it. And as I say, we've got to make sure we get the win here. They're still leading by 1 as we're underway in the second half. Been quite a slow game so far. We've been in control, but could do with that second goal as Esprilla finds Sanchez. I think he's onside. Sanchez takes it down and shoots, and he was so close to getting that second goal. Good start to this half as Amin flies in, and I'm hoping that is just going to be yellow. Still going in the hunt for that second goal. Isaac Romero off the bench. Skips away from 1, skips away from 2. Tight angle, denied, and Romero again denied, and on the rebound, bodies in the way again as still we remain leading by just 1. Well, thankfully, despite a little bit of a nervy end to that game, we do manage to hold on for just a single 0-0 victory. Should have had the game wrapped up in that second half, but couldn't take our chances. Thankfully, on this occasion, we weren't punished by Vallecano down the other end. So it will be 3 wins from 4 to kick off the campaign. A pretty good start to the season. And we'll go and close out the summer transfer window with deadline day. Yeah, as I've mentioned, as we get into transfer deadline day, we'd have to sell somebody from our 25-man squad for La Liga this season if we were to bring anyone else in. Looking at the team, there's not really anyone I'd like to bring in. We could bring in an attacker and loan out Menendez again. But to be honest, my issue is if I bring in a really good third-choice striker, I've then got to find a way to get Isaac, Amin, and that striker all in the team and all happy. So, yeah, I don't really see the point in doing that as we're just going to end up with unhappy players. We've got loads of cover in midfield, cover out wide, and in defence. I'm really happy with the team. So, Alvaro is going to head out on loan. That deal has already gone through as he will join Valencia until the end of the season on just a season-long loan. But I don't think we are going to bring anyone in. So let's just close out deadline day and see the top deals. Well, that is going to do it for transfer deadline day as we see the top deals. All right wingers, interestingly enough, and all involved in moves to and from the Premier League. Now, interestingly enough, there was a huge bid from Real Madrid on deadline day for Amin Gouiri. But with just 4 hours left, I sat down with Amin and said, look, you don't want to be going anywhere. We're building something here in Seville, and there's not enough time for me to find a replacement. I've agreed with Amin that if Real Madrid do come back in for him, either in January or in the summer transfer window next season, I will negotiate and I won't stand in the player's way after he was the top scorer in La Liga last season. But for the time being, Amin is staying. And that will do it for today's episode as well, guys. A pretty solid start to the season. We've flown through the summer transfer window in just 1 episode. You'll be seeing the fixtures for the Champions League draw as well, where we'll be taking on Benfica and Leverkusen away from home in September. October sees us travel to Porto, and in November we will host Stade Brestois and travel to Salzburg. In December, our single game is against Ferencvaros, and in January we close out with 2 tricky fixtures against Bayern Munich and Arsenal, both at home. But looking at those opening 6 fixtures, I'm feeling a little bit more confident about our chances of getting through and potentially even sneaking into the top 8. But that will do it for today, as I say, guys. I hope you have enjoyed our introduction to Season 3, and I will catch you in the next episode where we will crack on with more games in La Liga and the Champions League as well. Take care, guys, and peace.